Giants, human-like beings of tremendous size and strength. Fairy tales, such as Jack and the Beanstalk, have formed the modern perception of giants as stupid and violent creatures, sometimes said to even eat humans. Giants have appeared in many ancient texts, including the Bible. In the book of Genesis, giants are named the Nephilim, and are descendants of fallen angels and human women. Genesis 6:4 reads, "The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterwards, when the sons of God came into the daughters of man, and they bore children unto them. These were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown." Around the turn of the 20th century, the New York Times, London Globe, and the Scientific American published articles purporting the discovery of gigantic human skeletons, concluding that the remains were sent to the Smithsonian for further study. But the fact that this evidence was never again seen or reported continues to elicit questions of whether the Smithsonian destroyed or hides giant skeletons in order to cover up an inconvenient anomaly in the archaeological narrative we've been told. So are giants real, or were they just stuff of legend? And if they are real, why the cover-up? And what supposedly happened in Afghanistan in 2002 when a special forces team was searching for a missing unit? Hello, I'm Mike Droberg, a Marine Corps veteran, filmmaker, history enthusiast, and investigator of the supernatural. And we will answer these questions on today's episode of Forgotten History. In a now deleted video first posted on August 16th, 2016, L.A. Marzulli interviewed Mr. K, a man purporting to be a soldier who said he witnessed the giant of Kandahar. Mr. K claimed he saw the giant carrying a spear and murdering a United States soldier named Dan before he and the other Special Forces members took it down. The killing of the giant, Mr. K said, took place during the height of Operation Enduring Freedom in 2002, when the military was engaged in fierce battles with the Taliban in their de facto capital in the Kandahar province during the U.S. invasion of Afghanistan. It all began when in 2002 a group of soldiers went missing while on patrol in the remote region of Kandahar in the south of Afghanistan. When they failed to make radio contact for some time, the Army sent in a special operations unit to investigate. Then, while searching for the missing unit high up in the mountains, the Special Forces unit came across a cave with scattered Army equipment around, but no sign of the missing soldiers, and that's when they chanced upon the Kandahar giant. Though the tale grows with each telling, some reports suggesting that the humanoid grew as tall as 15 feet, this red-headed giant with 6 digits, leather moccasins, and smelling like dead bodies suddenly emerged from a cave and attacked the soldiers, impaling one with a spear. And that's when the soldiers opened fire. Between them, the squad was armed with M4 carbines, an M249 light machine gun, and an M107 Barrett 50 cal sniper rifle. This much firepower, concentrated on one target for 1 second, let alone 30, would be extremely destructive. After the troops killed the giant, they called in for an extraction. A Chinook helicopter came, and they loaded the giant into the Chinook, which carried it to a transport plane, and then no one ever saw it again. The soldiers were forced to sign an SF-312, the government's version of a non-disclosure agreement, in order to keep them all quiet. But eventually, the soldiers broke their silence, because as one of the men would say later, people have the right to know the truth. In 2016, Snopes reached out to the Department of Defense about the Kandahar giant incident. The Department of Defense told the outlet in no uncertain terms that they had no record of information about a Special Forces member killed by a giant in Kandahar. What's more, there are no press releases on the Department of Defense website involving either a Special Forces troop disappearing in Afghanistan or of any other incident involving soldiers felling a giant. But would there be? Of course, as with any good conspiracy, this lack of evidence isn't proof that the myth of the Kandahar giant doesn't exist. In fact, Snopes' debunking of the legend has had quite the opposite effect in certain cryptid spaces, which claim that the government is trying to hide the truth from the public. L.A. Marzulli told several websites that the United States government was covering up this spectacular story and that those in power had a vested interest in keeping the truth of biblical prophecies from being exposed to the general public. He stated that people have the right to know this stuff. If there are 15 or 18 footers roaming the earth and our military has brought them down, we have a right as American citizens to know about it. I mean, this isn't classified military stuff. This is something we need to know, and it points back to the biblical prophetic narrative. According to Marzulli, the creature was a Nephilim, a group of giants mentioned in the book of Genesis and Numbers in the Old Testament that could be found in the area now known as the Middle East, both before and after the flood of Noah's Ark fame. Further reports show that the only Dan that died in Kandahar around the time of this alleged incident in 2002 was a Sergeant First Class Daniel A. Romero, who was killed in a bomb blast along with 3 other soldiers. Could this also be another cover-up? But even with the evidence stacked against it, the myth of the Kandahar giant is still said to be an open secret among soldiers who served in Kandahar in 2002. And several veterans who served in the region have said that from that point on, they were instructed to point their weapon high by aiming for the head and then a little higher. What are your thoughts? Is it possible? Do giants from lore and ancient texts really exist? Did this story really happen? If you have further information on the story, let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching today's episode of Forgotten History. Please like, share, and subscribe. Send us your questions or comments, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Let us know if you have any show ideas. We're always looking for new topics to discuss, and we'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed our program and would like to help us offset the cost of production, our PayPal address will be listed in the description box below. Thanks again. Until next time.